Hello, it says I'm live. Am I live? Is it lying to me? I'm not kidding you. The cameras lie to you about everything. It's all a lie. Like, see, it's not even telling me which way is up, which side is which. There, I want to pull that down, not up. Fred says standing by. Okay, so let's just jump right in here. How are you, Annie and Fred? Please hit your like button if you'd be so kind. I apologize for being so sporadic right now. You know, Coco's almost done with her cancer treatments, and that has been like running a marathon. What else am I looking for? I'm looking for my sign. Please make sure you're still subscribed if you are subscribed. And if you're not, consider doing that. It's a quick, easy, free, non-committal way to help out a content creator. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like it, and turn on your notification bell to ring if you want to be notified. Everything that I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. But, you know, I realized something real recently. I think the most important element for me in doing this channel, Anna Bees, what's up? The most important element is not self-expression, although that was why I started it, and that's one of my motivating factors. It's very therapeutic. It's community building, you guys. Like, what a cool surprise. But that's the problem when you don't make content, is that you might still be expressing yourself in other ways, but you miss your people. So it's lovely to see you guys today. It's just about 2:20 almost on Saturday, February 8th. A week before Valentine's Day. I gotta tell you, it is, Anna B says, yeah, and I saw you late last night on Shan's thing. Shan had a marathon 8, almost 9-hour live last night, you guys, if you missed it. I dropped in a few different points in time, and then when I woke up pretty early this morning, she had just gotten off of doing the live. So she went until about 7, and Anna Bees was up all night. I know. I was up with Shan all night. That's phenomenal. Like, that's such dedication, girl. That is so cool. What did I miss? I tried to go back and watch some of it, but I don't know how I'm going to catch 8 hours. Maybe you can play that one on double speed because there's not a lot of talking. I was going to say you can't really do Shan on double speed. That would be like doing me on double speed, and that's really annoying. So, yeah, I'm fascinated. I know she's like working on an artificial intelligence presentation, so it's a lot of research. It was just so much. Do you recommend it, like the whole 8 hours, or should we pressure her to break it down like she always says she's going to? I don't like to pressure anybody to do anything, because even when we say we're going to do things on our YouTube, it's hard to fill those promises. And I learned early to try not to make commitments like that. Things were really clicking into place. That's so awesome. I know. I feel like a lot of things have been clicking into place with Kylie's case, with the Watts case, you guys. I had a brand new realization yesterday on the Watts case that I don't think anybody's ever thought of. Maybe they have, and I just missed it. Hold on. I did come on mostly to talk about politics, but at the same time, I'm so sick of politics. But what I want to say before I forget is that I'm very concerned when the weekends happen that it's sort of like, what is it? The mice will play when the cats are away. Like, so we expect weekends to be quiet and for no news to happen. And it seems like that's when a lot of tragic things have happened with this new presidency. It's effing crazy. It was only a week ago, I think. Yeah, wasn't it last Friday night that the airplane in Philly dropped out of the sky? That was just 2 days after the crash in DC. And then over the last couple of days, there was a plane up in Alaska that was missing with 10 people. Then they said that there were 3 deceased, and they almost made it sound like the other 7 might have survived, but no, it sounds like, of course, all 10 didn't survive. Alaska's brutal. You can't mess around with Mother Nature. No, you got to take that girl seriously. But why are all these people dying in airplanes all of a sudden? It's crazy. And then there was the train that caught on fire. So I'm thinking planes, trains, and automobiles. Plus, there's a Super Bowl tomorrow. And what the F is a president thinking to show up at a Super Bowl? It reminds me of like Spider-Man with all of the evil gremlins that try to blow up the city when there's a performance, right? Because everybody's distracted and security detail is like close to impossible. It seems like he's kind of going to bully the cat lady, Taylor Swift. I don't know. That's just a guess. But it's also like he can't deal with anybody getting attention. And of course, the Super Bowl is going to get all the attention for the weekend. So he's got to like crash the party. I mean, it's unheard of. It's unheard of. Okay, more coffee, please. I'm going to need like a gallon. It's just so hard. So I have a couple of notebooks. I've been trying to keep my notes minimal but concise. Let me throw the thumb. It's been a long time since I knocked that thumb down. I need to break it some more. You know, just break everything. Okay, so let's start out with a couple of jokes. Oh my gosh, Jez, don't say that. I know. I don't like saying anything because, you know, speak of the DEVIL and they shall appear. And I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to make it come to fruition. And at the same time, it's important to express our thoughts and feelings. It's important for me anyway. So what is it that I want to say? This was funny. Okay, so I used the thumbnail. I finally found the little sock monkey puppet and put that next to the chief of staff, Susie. What's her name? Did I write it down? Too many notebooks. I think I wrote it down. I must have. Okay. Do they look exactly alike? I have to go, Jazz. Something going on with my daughter. Oh, Anna Bees, I'm so sorry. I hope that your daughter is okay, and thanks for letting me know. Let's send thoughts, prayers, and blessings Anna Bees' way. And yeah, just have a great day. I hope everything's all right. Everything he does is ballsy. Don't touch anything. I know I can't touch anything here. I'm a total klutz, especially on my set. But yeah, it's funny that you should mention balls, right? Big balls. Okay, we'll save that for later. Yeah. Tiny junk. Giant tool. How about giant tool? I think that would be a good one, right? Hey, CP3O. So let's see. The thing with the Gaza Strip. So I used that picture of Susie, the chief of staff, because her eyes shooting lasers at Mr. T reminded me immediately of that sock monkey puppet that I haven't seen in a long time because, you know, he's all over Facebook. I don't know if he still is. He was. Lots of cool memes with that character, and he cracks me up. I love him. So it'd been a long time since I thought about him, and as soon as I saw that picture of the chief of staff, I was like, oh my God, it's him. Actually, let me tell you, at first when I saw that picture of the chief of staff, I thought that it was AI. I thought she was superimposed. I thought it was like a cartoon that she was like looking at Trump. I didn't think it was real. And then I realized, holy crap, that is real. This whole thing is like a freaking cartoon, you guys. It's like Animated Apprentice, Trumpster Fire. How come we never thought of that? Has anyone thought of that? I just thought of it yesterday. I was like, okay, can I brand that? Yeah. Okay. So when the Trumpster Fire said that he was going to take the Gaza Strip, right? And then the questions were like, who would live there? And he said, people would live there. And somebody asked, what people? And he said, people of the world. And, you know, it's hard to keep up with the shit show. Excuse me, I'm in the first 7 minutes, aren't I? No, I'm 10 minutes in. I can say the shite word. Anyway, it's hard to keep up. Like, why didn't he just answer Earthlings? We're going to have the Earthlings live there. Or better yet, how about the creatures from other planets? I mean, this whole thing with like the World War threats, paranoia, and then you've got like the Star Wars thing with this freaking muskrat. Like, that guy is such a hot mess. Is he having a manic episode or something? And I don't even want to say that, because there's nothing wrong with having a manic episode. It happens a lot to a lot of people. And it's almost like insulting people with bipolar disorder. That man is just not even a man. I mean, he hates people. He thinks that the world would be better off without people. You guys, you do realize this, right? That's kind of his end game, is like no people, just him, right? Because he doesn't need anybody. He'd be like that Twilight Zone where it's just him. And he's like, oh no, I got what I want. But the whole thing with his cyber trucks, and you know how trucks are like a metaphor for people without the big balls, you know, people with the tiny packages. In that case, like, what is that truck? Like, scary package? It's a predator. That truck is a predator, that cyber truck. And it's sort of like driving a tank around. Like, that's what I don't like about them, is that it gives this vibe of that we all need to be driving around tanks. And it seems like that's what he's after. It seems like that's where he's going. Like, that's what he wants to create. And there was a college student. Let me see if I wrote her name down here. She was an Evergreen State College student in 2003. And she pretty much stood in front of a tank on the Gaza Strip to try to protect a Palestinian's family's home. And she was run over. She was run over by the cyber truck. I mean, you know, the bulldozer. And, you know, I remember her because she went to the same college that I went to. Where did I write her name down? I'll just have to Google it. Evergreen State College student. Sorry, you guys. Always apologizing. Evergreen State College student. It was definitely 03. Rachel Corey, okay? Oh, and I was going to read to you guys, in case you don't know who Rachel Corey is, which I would imagine most people don't. The only reason I do is because we went to the same college. So the AI overview says Rachel Corey, a student at Evergreen State College, was killed by an Israeli bulldozer in Gaza in 2003. She was a member of the International Solidarity Movement, the ISM, a pro-Palestinian activist group. But what I wanted to read was what Wikipedia has to say about it. Him and Elon, tiny packages, big trucks, exactly. Ugh. All right. So her birthday was April 10th, 1979. She passed away March 16th, 03. Rachel Eileen Corrie was an American nonviolence activist and diarist. She was a member of the Pro-Palestinian International Solidarity Movement, the ISM. So this was 22 years ago, coming up on the anniversary next month, and was active throughout the Israeli-occupied Palestinian territories. In 2003, she was in Rafah, a city in the Gaza Strip, where the Israeli military was demolishing Palestinian houses at the height of the second intifada. Sorry, I'm not familiar with that word. I think it's intifada. While protesting the demolitions as they were being carried out, she was unalived by an Israeli armored bulldozer that crushed her. Oh, let me see if I can show you her picture. This is a really cool picture, and hopefully it'll show up on the screen. Isn't she beautiful? She looks so chill. Okay. Oh, and she was from Olympia, Washington. See, there weren't a lot of people local from Olympia that went to Evergreen State College. So that was interesting about her. So she was living in Olympia at the same time that I was living there. She didn't go to the college until, 10 years after I moved away. So it says Corrie was born in Olympia, Washington, the United States in 79 after graduating from Capitol High School. And I lived right around the corner from Capitol High School when I met my husband, and then we got a house together. She went on to attend the Evergreen State College. She took a year off from her studies to work as a volunteer in the Washington State Conservation Corps, where she spent, I said corpse, it's probably like without so much emphasis on the P, right? Sorry. Where she, not like the body, like the Army Corps, okay, Corps of Engineers, where she spent 3 years making weekly visits to mental patients. While at Evergreen State College, she became a committed peace activist. And remember, there were 2 committed peace activists on the airplane that went down on the Potomac last week. Arranging peace events through a local group she called Olympians for Peace and Solidarity. She later joined the International Solidarity Movement, ISM, organization in order to protest the policies of the Israeli army in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Corrie went to Gaza as part of her college's senior year independent study proposal to connect Olympia with Rafah with each other as sister cities. Remember when that was a big thing, the sister cities? But yeah, that was the cool thing about Evergreen, was it gave you a lot of independence to create your own study, your own goals, just whatever was meaningful to you. Like I studied art and psychology there, and philosophy and writing. And then it turned into performance arts too, which is not something I would have ever thought. This is almost kind of like performance arts, but not really. Kind of, sort of. Anyway, where was I? When in Rafah on March 16th, 2003, she joined other ISM activists in efforts to nonviolently prevent Israel's demolition of Palestinian property, where she was killed by an Israeli bulldozer that crushed her. This was horrific. Do you guys remember hearing about this nationwide? Hey, Halibi. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. Physicians present and fellow ISM activists stated that Corrie had been wearing a high visibility vest and was deliberately driven over, while the Israeli army said that it was an accident because the bulldozer operator did not see her. Following the incident, an Israeli military investigation concluded that Corrie's death was the result of an accident and that the bulldozer operator had limited visibility. They'll say whatever they want to say. The ruling attracted criticism from Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and Yesh Din. HRW stated that the ruling represented a pattern of impunity for Israeli forces. In 2005, Corey's parents filed a civil lawsuit charging the Israeli state with not conducting a full and credible investigation into the case and therefore holding responsibility for her death. They contended that either she had been intentionally killed or the Israeli soldiers on the scene had acted with reckless neglect. Like they knew or should have known. If they didn't see her, they shouldn't be driving bulldozers. Like that's complete BS. They sued for a symbolic dollar in damages. However, the Israeli court rejected their suit in August 2012. So that took 7 years just for it to get rejected, and upheld the results of the military's investigation, ruling that the Israeli government was not responsible for Corey's death, again attracting criticism from Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and various activists. An appeal against this ruling was heard on May 21st, 2014, but was ultimately rejected by the Supreme Court of Israel on February 14th, 2015. So how terrible on Valentine's Day. So 2015. So they're coming up on the 10-year anniversary this coming Friday of the Supreme Court of Israel ultimately rejecting the appeal. Interesting. And with all of this going on, I would think that it could get looked at some more, right? My interesting Alaska flight. Yeah, I've flown around Alaska. It's beautiful up there. From Kodiak in a single engine from a runway first uphill, then down. We flew on the deck along Kodiak. When we got to west end of Kodiak, we could not see it. Now the name that you say is different. Sitka. It's like Sicknick. Sitka. So I don't know if that was like spell check that got you, Fred. Because yeah, Sitka, Alaska. I flew in there. I actually did accept a job offer from a recovery rehabilitation establishment in Sitka, Alaska. I accepted the job, but then I backed out after I visited. My acceptance was conditional with them flying me and my husband up there so that we could see the town, meet the people, and it was nice. But man, 4 days in Sitka was plenty for me personally. Nothing against Sitka, but you know, you're socked in, lots of bad weather, lots of poor visibility, and lots of whales. I mean, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's cold, it's dark, and it's so small. And there's not another small town around for maybe 1,000 miles. And I'm not even exaggerating. You're on an island. So there's a lot of those small airplanes in Alaska. There's a lot of tragic stories in Alaska. And this being another one with the 10 people. But why are these airplanes all falling out of the sky with this new presidential administration? Asking for a friend. Our destination and returned. OMG, OLL. Oh, that is a different town. Sitkanak is correct. Thank you. I'm thinking Sitka. I'm not familiar with that. That must be a tiny, tiny town. Let me look that one up real quick. Thanks for responding to that. I don't want to be throwing people off course here. Sitkanak. And yeah, we have the computer to do that for us enough. And we cannot trust these computers. We cannot trust Google. We cannot trust artificial intelligence. That's no way to live. Like, all of that can be helpful for humans, but we can't depend on it. And this whole thing with this Elon character is so freaking out of control. I hope that he gets himself arrested. he's not only like skating on thin ice with the laws of our country, he's skating on thin ice with the laws of many countries. It kind of looks like France might be the first country to actually arrest him. I don't know. I can't pay attention to all this stuff. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. I try because I think it's important. Okay, so it says Kodiak and the Trinity Islands of Alaska and thus Sitkinak, part of the Gulf of Alaska. Yeah. And yeah, I'm sure Kodiak is beautiful. For anybody who is not familiar, I think this one is Kodiak Island. Fred, you can tell us. So you've got all those inlets, you got all that snow, you got a lot of wildlife and trees and cold weather. And, you know, if the bears don't eat you, the ice will get you. And it's no joke. It's absolutely no joke. You can't mess around with Alaska. And a lot of people do. A lot of people go on vacation up there and they're like, man, I'm going to hunt some bears. And they like run around like it's a freaking playground until they pass away. And then it's almost like Americans have this idea that there's no danger when you're on vacation. Because I know it happens a lot of places, not just Alaska. It happens a lot in Hawaii. That these people just don't pay attention to Mother Nature. They don't pay attention to the most logical dangers, like the one I mentioned recently, like flying a freaking helicopter into a volcano spewing hot lava. Like, no, that's not really a thing, except for in the Flintstones cartoon, and they always die. So why would you want to do that? But yeah, like in Hawaii with the lava, and that the Big Island had a continuous lava flow for like 32 years, and then it's briefly stopped and it started again. Maybe it stopped and started some more. But anyway, that's Pele, the goddess of the lava, or the goddess of the volcano, and she's pissed. So where the lava meets the water is pretty cool. I mean, it's nice to watch video of it. But the problem is people will actually walk out there. They'll drive out there, which it is blocked off and you're not allowed to, but you can hire locals with Jeeps, or you can, you know, the big joke on the Big Island is that every rental car has 4-wheel drive, because you just take your rental car out there and throw caution to the wind until you drive too far. And then the shelf can just like collapse right into the water. Because you don't know how thick that shelf is. The water will make the lava hardened like a rock, but then the lava will melt the lava. The lava melts rocks. So people go out there and they stand on the ledge to try to look down. And I remember there was a group of tourists, I think like 8 of them, that fell in the ocean like that. Nothing can be done to save you in these situations. Agree, Mother Nature is a force not to be messed with. Is San Tiori empty now because of earthquake? Oh, you're throwing me a curveball, man. San Tiori, I'm not even sure. Is that part of Hawaii? Let me see what that is. So I don't know anything about it. If anybody does and wants to say, is that Greece? Greek island, yeah, the Aegean Sea, about 120 miles southeast of the mainland. So yeah, I can't answer that question, but thank you for asking. This is why I love lives, because you just never know. You never know where the conversation will take you. And let me look at my notes, because I have this thing that I was going to share with you, and I hate it when I mention something and then I don't get back to it. So, the thing that I was going to mention was the Chris Watts freak out. We've all heard the stories if we've paid attention to the Watts case, you know, Shanann and the 2 beautiful little girls, and then of course, the fetus that she was pregnant with, baby Nico, that all lost their lives on, I'm going to say August 13th, 2018 in Frederick, Colorado, I believe. And then Chris Watts confessed to it 3 times with 3 different versions of lies. And his mistress, Nicole Kessinger, has always been protected. And the DA, Michael Rourke, completely fouled up the case, in my opinion. And it was just yesterday that I thought, I wonder what really caused the imbalance to happen, where it was determined that there needed to be a familicide. And, you know, sometimes I feel like I have these random thoughts when I'm completely not trying to think about these cases, and it just kind of comes to me, and it's, to me, it's like some insight. It's like a little nugget of truth that I'm just kind of blown away by. And it could be inaccurate. I'm not saying that I'm a genius or anything, because I'm most certainly not. NK, isn't her birthday July 3rd? So on the 4th of July, when Shanann was in North Carolina with the girls, she tried to call and text her husband probably 10 or 20 times. Knowing Shanann, it was probably more like 40 or 50 times. And he wasn't picking up. He was over at NK's house. And then in the morning, he called her, I think, while NK was in the shower. And then he went and communicated to Nikki and said, you know, I got to go. He had talked to his wife, I think, on the phone outside of NK's apartment, but he was probably worried about, you know, cross-pollinating his worlds. So NK acted like she was chill in the shower while he went home to deal with his life. And then she showed up at his house. And then we all know what happened next with Dieter, the wiener dog, who like forced her to go upstairs, made her look at the pictures of Shanann and the girls, told her all kinds of lies. That damn Dieter, always bullying the mistresses, right? Anyway, yeah, like both her and Chris are like, oh, she didn't want to go upstairs. Dieter took her upstairs. Dieter made her follow him. It's like, you guys are wing nuts, okay? All right. So my thought here, to get to the point, is that Chris freaked out when his girlfriend showed up at his house. And that house is like the biggest in the entire neighborhood. You know, it's a development of all nice new homes. That house towers over all the other buildings, from what I've heard from people who've been there. But it was also very well equipped with surveillance cameras. Vivint was the company that they used for their surveillance cameras. And then Chris and Shanann had many texts and conversations about him contacting Vivint because the security cameras weren't operating correctly, right? So my thought is that when his little mistress showed up at his house, like crashed his scene, completely invaded his space, violated his boundaries without warning, without invitation, that it was over. Like, he had to do something drastic. It was only a matter of time until Shanann would somehow get a hold of that surveillance footage, if she hadn't already seen it. And he's probably thinking that she might have saw it and that she's going to keep her mouth shut until the right moment, and then use that to like get all the money and all the custody and the entire house or something in a divorce. But I'm going to guess that NK basically didn't dig her own grave, but dug the wife and daughter's grave by so rudely imposing herself upon the home. And that CW was completely freaked out. He was pretty good, I think, with electronics. I think Shanann was too. But he probably was doing everything in his power to delete that footage. And he was probably communicating with Vivint. He was probably doing all kinds of things on his phone and the computers. And he probably was in a sheer panic for the next month and thinking, how is he going to resolve this situation where he doesn't lose everything? His house, his money, his family. He kind of had no choice. In his little weasel brain, it was like checkmate. And maybe NK even knew that. I bet he had said, we can't go to my house because there's surveillance cameras everywhere. I had never thought of that part. She probably was playing chess. And she basically put him in checkmate with that. Do you agree? If you guys, you're probably familiar with the Watts case. I think most people on true crime are. Helby says Santorini is part of the Greek islands. They reckon Atlantis is rising there due to the volcano and the earthquakes. Sitkanak then was a Lauren navigation station with 30 crew. Oh, wow. An island that's just a navigation station. There's a lot of wild places like that in Alaska and Antarctica too, right? 365 days, no leave. Maybe that explains me. LOL. Fred, were you in the Air Force or the Army? I missed that. Sorry. But wow, an entire year out there with 30 people. That would be rough. Coast Guard. Well, thank you for your service, Mr. Field. That's often awesome. You all have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Thank you, Lovely, for the stream. I think it was SW on social media drove him mad. It is sad. I completely agree with what you were saying. Yeah, I mean, Shanann was definitely high maintenance. She was no cakewalk, but neither would NK. I mean, Chris really knew how to pick them, didn't he? Electronics tech. Yeah, he liked the controlling women. I mean, his mother was super controlling. Shanann was super controlling. NK pretty much took the cake. Like, she had to out control these control freaks. And she did. Okay. So let's see what else we got. My tiny notebook here. Is Musk going to follow Trump to the Super Bowl tomorrow? Is he going to tag along? My guess is that he will. My guess is that there's going to be something dramatical going on at the Super Bowl, because just the Super Bowl and just the president and just Taylor Swift with just her boyfriend, none of that is enough. Nothing is ever enough, right? So it's interesting that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, they competed against each other 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. And the Kansas City Chiefs won. I just looked all this stuff up. I don't follow football. They won 38-35. And even more interesting is that Travis, did I say Travis Scott? Travis Kelce? I think I said Kelce, but you never know. Anyway, Travis Kelce's brother, Jason Kelce, played for the Philly Eagles for 13 seasons, but he retired last year, so he's not playing tomorrow, which is interesting. No one had come forward to say that they dated Luigi Mangione. Why has no one come forward to say that they dated the hottie? You know, Luigi Mangione, the guy from the killing on the streets of New York City. I mean, the unaliving. The pew pew, right? Nobody has ever come forward to say that they dated him, which kind of supports my theory that maybe he was not straight. Just a possibility. I don't know, but I would imagine that that's why we don't hear anything about people that dated him, because he was a very good-looking young man, is a very good-looking young man, and had a lot going for him up until doing something like that, if indeed he did do something like that. So, I watch a lot of YouTube and I try to educate myself. I like the funny stuff. I like the true crime, of course, but I feel very compelled to keep up with this administration, with the United States government, the way it currently is. I feel like democracy is under threat. I feel like we're all under threat. I feel like we'd be doing ourselves a disservice to not pay attention. As overwhelming as it is, I feel like it's important to pay attention, stay focused, connect with other like-minded individuals, and just put your best foot forward. But one of the things that has fascinated me in that journey of doing this is some of the content creators that I would never have thought I would watch, and I would never have thought that I would agree with or think that they have a lot of good things to say. And I've shared with you guys that some of these people are folks that were tight in the last Mr. T administration, and then they got shunned, like Chris Christie, Anthony Scaramucci, and not Barry Cohen. Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen. Those are three extremely intelligent men that I saw nothing of intelligence in any of the three of them when they were first in my purview back in the day. Now I'm absolutely fascinated with just about everything that they say. They know a lot. They know both sides, and they are very concerned. They're very concerned, and they're trying to do as many podcasts and panel discussions as they can. I really don't think it's attention seeking. I really think it's because they feel obligated and they're trying to help. So I appreciate that. And in my venture of looking at these videos that I would think I wouldn't be interested in at all, one of my favorites right now today is this man named Chris Norland. So Chris Norland, I mentioned to you guys last week, he actually went to school with Elon Musk. So I looked up their educations to figure out which school he went to. And Chris Norland is Vietnamese. He lives in South Vietnam. He's absolutely brilliant. He's a professor. He's, I think, a writer and a director and a podcaster. He's very humble. He was hard for me to watch at first because he talks really fast and he stutters, but I love that he doesn't try to change that. That's who he is, and that's just him doing his best, and he's fine with his imperfections. So he puts out a lot of content. So his inside track is with Musk. He wasn't friends with Musk. He doesn't pretend that he was friends with Musk, but he had friends that knew Musk. And he hates him. He absolutely hates him. But the school that they went to together is the University of Pennsylvania in Philly. And I'm just wondering why Pennsylvania has gotten so much attention the last few months. Philly had the plane fall out of the sky with the 6 Mexican nationals on it. It had the train on fire with 350 commuters on it. It has the Eagles football team in the Super Bowl. And it's where Musk got one of his degrees. He's well educated. He has a lot of degrees. So Chris Norland and Musk went to the University of Philadelphia. No, the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. And for those that don't know, that's an Ivy League school. I did not know this. It was the first university in our nation. Is that so wild? I want to say it was founded by like Ben Franklin or somebody. Let's Google it. Reminder, Valentine's is coming up. Get your cards to Scammy in the mail. Oh, that is cute, Fred. Absolutely. Yeah, send her your love. Helby, I didn't mean to delete your comment about Mother Nature. MC3PO, please accept my apologies. Stop. You do this. And I don't like being harsh on you, but I also don't want people to get their stuff deleted. But, oh, I wonder if I can bring it back. View deleted message. No, I don't think I can. Dang it. You might be able to bring it back, naughty girl, naughty C3PO. All right. So, but I can read it to people. I think it was one that I read because I've caught most of them. It says, yeah, I did read it. I agree, Mother Nature is a force not to be messed around. Yeah. Okay, so I was going to look up the University of Pennsylvania because I was curious if Ben Franklin was one of the founding fathers. But I'm wondering why an airplane and a train both had calamity in not just Pennsylvania, but in Pittsburgh, or sorry, Philadelphia, right? So John Legend went there. Warren Buffett. Who else? Bruce Dern. That's funny. You know, John Legend is from Springfield, Ohio, too. You know, where they eat the cats and the dogs. Kidding. They don't. They don't. So, oh, founding father. Working list of notable alumni. It was Benjamin Franklin, you guys. Oh, I love it when I'm accurate. I was thinking it's got to be inaccurate. That has to be me hallucinating. So Benjamin Franklin founded the University of the state of Pennsylvania. So is it the one that they call Penn State, or is that a different one? Because that's what was really confusing me. I've been to Penn State, and I know that that's very prestigious too. The Pennsylvania State University. I think that's two different schools. Yeah. Yeah, because Penn State's public. Okay. And then the University of Pennsylvania is private. Ben Franklin, man. Too cool. Too freaking cool. Okay, so what else do I have to share with you guys? It's a little bit after 3. We're already coming up on an hour. I do need to wrap up. I'm so happy to see you. I miss you guys massively. And soon this whole radiation treatment will be complete and I should be able to be back on my game. Again, I don't like to make promises because you know how that goes. Undies always make me laugh. The spell checker thinks it knows better than the person the word we mean. I barely touch my ridiculous device and the craziness undies ensues, not undies. Quit touching it, C3PO. Oh, that's funny. I like the craziness undies. That's hilarious. That is cute. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad nobody's upset. Nobody's offended. What else do I have in my little notebook here that I really wanted to be sure to share? The, that whole thing about calling the pilots, the captain, you know, the command control center. It used to be called the cockpit. And so they changed that. and they started calling it like the Command Control Center. And now Sean Duffy, our current transportation secretary, who got famous from being on The Real World and dancing naked in a window on a table, all drunken. And that came out, I think, over the weekend last week or the weekend before. Sean Duffy. I'll put a link in the description. It's very entertaining. So he said famously a week or two ago, probably a week ago, because when this whole thing happened with the airplane over the Potomac River, that was just about a week and a half ago. So he says the focus on social justice or the environment makes bad things happen. So he was saying that the focus on social justice or the environment makes planes fall out of the sky. I can see his logic, as crazy as it is, but I think he's getting the cart before the horse. I think he's getting it a little twisted. So, of course, you don't want to ignore important safety regulations. And I don't think that people are going to ignore important safety regulations. Although, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking there's some irony. The focus on social justice and the environment is what got Rachel Corrie, or Karina Rachel, got her unalived, was her prioritizing social justice over her personal safety. But she more than likely thought that they would stop. And she was incorrect, and she was crushed. And there were people there that witnessed it. And I'm sure that had to be so traumatic, so very traumatic. Anyway, so maybe she proved Sean Duffy right in that situation right there. But again, not really, because if the Israelis were focused on social justice and the environment, then they would have stopped and not taken the life of this young woman. But it's cool that her parents still have a foundation in her name. I'm going to look more into that. So the aviation chief embarrassed the transportation secretary. That transportation secretary is Sean Duffy. And I think I'm starting to fade quickly because, my stamina is lowered because I haven't been doing this so much. It really helps me to do it every day when I am sporadic like I have been. I think this is only the second one in a week. I lose my rhythm. I mean, it's hard to keep a rhythm even when I do it every day. I'll be honest. I mean, it's a challenging activity, but I love it. I love a good challenge. So, and I've told you guys, like most of my videos, I think they're awful while I'm making them. I'm thinking, oh man, this one is terrible. I'm just going to have to delete it. And then I'll go back and review it. I do review almost all of them. Because I like to catch mistakes that I made. I like to make sure that I got any videos in the description, links to the videos in the description that I may have promised. I don't want to promise that I'll put a link there and then forget. So I do have to watch for that. And I have to watch that the words come out of my mouth accurately, because sometimes they don't. That's what happens when you talk a lot in front of a camera. But it is really funny, some of the things that come out of some of these people's mouths that are talking a lot in front of cameras, and I'll write some of those down. But that's also what I rely on, the good old Comedy Central and The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, Jimmy Kimmel, Late Night with Seth Meyers, Colbert Report, and a couple of others. And you guys saw that I got to meet Josh Johnson last week. That was super cool. And it was funny AF. I put a link in the description of my last video to the stand-up routine that he did last week in Cincinnati. And one of the last stories that he told was about him following somebody from the bus in Chicago. Like they lived in the same apartment building and they hadn't met before. And it looked like he was staring at the person on the bus, but he wasn't. And then it looked like he was following the person, but he wasn't. And it was just a really funny, creepy story that he was telling about it. And then when I went to talk to him afterwards, I felt a little bit too comfortable with him. And I said, I feel like I want to give you a hug. And he was receptive. And so we hugged. And my daughter took a picture, and I was a little like starstruck and kind of forgot that I hugged him. And when I saw the picture, I was like, oh, he doesn't look that comfortable. I hope I didn't like invade his space. Like it was a little funny, especially right after he told that story. But he was super nice. He was absolutely a gem. And I did speak with him for a few minutes. And I told him about my my YouTube channel and told him that I had discovered his comedy and that I talk about it a lot on my YouTube channel. So we'll see. We'll see if he shows up in my comment section or anything. You never know. You never know. I mean, that was the first like networking that I think I tried with this. And it was kind of awkward, but kind of cool too. Anyway, let's see. Flight deck, Fred Field. Ooh, I don't know if you can hear that. It sounds like a bunch of rain is coming out of the sky. How cool. Okay. So we got Luigi Mangione. We got the 2 plane crashes. We got the train catching on fire. But between Luigi Mangione and the 2 plane crashes, we also had the 2 army guys with their rented trucks on New Year's Day. And haven't we all forgotten about that? The whole thing with like flooding the zone and overwhelming is definitely what the Mr. T administration, the President T administration. Oh, that's funny. Like spill the tea. We'll start calling them that, right? Like Truth Social, that kind of tea. But why are they not talking about that freaking Cybertruck blowing up in front of the Trump Tower? I feel like that was orchestrated by the 2 business owners themselves, the guy who invented the Cybertruck and the guy who invented Trump Towers. I feel like that was a stunt. I feel like a lot of these are terrorist attacks, if not all of them. Luigi, the 2 trucks, the 2 plane crashes, the train fire, the 3rd plane crash. I feel like they're all kind of low-level terrorist attacks, and even some of the fires in Los Angeles. Let me restate that. I feel like they all could be low-level terrorist attacks, but that's kind of an oxymoron. Like, what the F is a low-level terrorist attack? A terrorist attack is a terrorist attack, and I better quit saying that word or the whole stream will shut down, won't it? Okay, so I wanted to share with you, I put a link in the description already to the Daily Show with Jon Stewart's interview with Brooke Harrington. She's the one who invented the term bro-oligarchy. I can say it, bro-oligarchy. So I brought that term to your guys' attention a week or so ago. It's in a video that's 2 weeks old. Jon Stewart stopped her and said, wait, back up. Did you just say bro-oligarchy? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'm going to have to borrow that if that's okay. And now everybody's saying it all over the place. But I'm pretty sure that this academic scholar of oligarchs is who coined that phrase. So let's give her credit. So in October, this last year, October 23rd of 2024, Taylor Swift was doing a performance in Miami, Florida, and there was an airplane that flew over with a banner that said, ready for it, cat lady? she had just recently been very public about her support for the opponent in the presidential election race. And Mr. T had been posting how much he hated her in all caps, which is pretty much putting a price tag on somebody's head in that MAGA world. Speaking of the MAGA world, have you guys seen the freaking giant MAGA hats that Tucker Carlson and Elon are wearing in some photographs from yesterday or the day before? These guys are like freaking toddlers. Giant MAGA hats. There's something about the whole thing that is just so freaking disgusting and obscene. The whole freaking thing. It's just like making a joke of the world. And I think it's important to keep a sense of humor, but this is not funny. This is real life. They're playing with fire. They're playing with people's lives. Like I was saying with these quote unquote low level terrorist attacks, it's not going to feel low level if it's you that's involved, or if you're seeing it up close, if you're there, or if it's your life that's at stake. So ready for it, cat lady. I am very concerned about, that's probably what he's going to try to do, is fly over the Super Bowl, have an airplane fly over with some banner, huh? I hope it's just the psychological terrorist attacks and not other types. I hope. None of us need this. Can we just put the attention on the Super Bowl? Just let the athletes have the attention. Before I wrap up, I do want to say that I've seen on the internet that the football players are not happy with Mr. T's announcement that he's coming to the game. They're not happy with it. They feel like he's spitting right in their eye. And I'm not going to pretend that I know that much about that whole thing, but it, makes me think of like the Colin Kaepernick, that whole thing with taking the knee instead of the Pledge of Allegiance with the Star Spangled Banner. Maybe it probably has something to do with that, right? And then recently, with all that crap with B and Daisy, her husband, and her husband Daisy, and then Puffy. I don't like to say their names. So Puffy, the one in jail, and then Daisy, but with a J, the husband that was named in that one lawsuit, and then Celebrity B, which I still think is more likely her than anyone else. But she just won that freaking Grammy. She's performing tomorrow. Her hubby, I'm sure, will be there. But her hubby, Daisy, with the J, he came out and spoke out against the whole Colin Kaepernick movement. He was the one who came out for the NFL like a paid puppet, basically, and said enough is enough. Like, let's just let this one go. And to me, that's really disgusting. That's like being a sellout. So I think it's important to think about these things. And with all of the references to World War II, with all the racist references, the sexism, the homophobia, I would imagine that little E is going to show up tomorrow with his big friend D, Mr. T, and they're going to have their little airplanes flying overhead with some snarky messages, and they're going to try to take the attention away from Taylor Swift, away from Travis Kelce, away from the game, which is just really unfair to the players. It's their day. It's freaking Super Bowl. Let them have it. And it's the second time that the Kansas City Chiefs are playing against the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. Oh, I started to say this and I didn't get it out. Philly being where Elon went to the University of Pennsylvania. Elon seems like he's been threatening Donnie lately in his posts. I guess he tweets like a couple hundred times a day. And it almost seems like he's trying to let Donnie know that at the drop of a hat, Elon could let the cat out of the bag. And I'm going to guess that that involves the other little E, you know, the one who offed himself allegedly in prison. And recently, D, President T, hope I'm not confusing you with all my alphabet, too much alphabet. D said that he was really fascinated with little E's unaliving. And he specifically mentioned that he was fascinated with the surveillance cameras in the prison not working, that they just happened to be on the blink. I'm thinking, isn't that interesting that you know that detail so well, Mr. T? Isn't that interesting that you know that detail so well? And isn't that interesting that you're so fascinated with it? Oh, man. Yeah, I think we need to ask a lot of questions. So, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is always threatening to release the little E files. And please do. Please release the little E files. I don't care if there's anybody in there that I am surprised by or wouldn't want there to be. Like, let it be known. Let it be known. Seriously. These are traffickers. These are weapons of mass destruction, especially when it comes to sexism, classism, and basically that. I mean, they take full advantage of their financial superiority, or I don't even think of it as superiority. I think of it as like a house of cards, but they really try to use that and weaponize the finances. They really try to weaponize how connected they are and any power that they have. And really in wrapping today's video up, I feel like these people, these broligarchs, symbolically, or maybe more than metaphorically, they want to eat people. Like, can I say that? Am I going to get cut off of YouTube? You know, like it's a dog eat dog world. And the competition is fierce. And a lot of people have been saying lately, eat the rich, which I don't really agree with because that's just gross. But I know that they're speaking symbolically, not literally. But I wonder with all of the accusations of Pizzagate, you know, oh, the deep state, they're all doing that with their ordering pizzas and their emails. It seems like there's a lot of accusations that get thrown around when really the accusations are gaslighting, and it's the predators, the pot calling the kettle black. The predators are accusing other people of doing exactly what they're doing. So, you know, when you get into all this trafficking crap, when you get into this Titanic crap, remember Long Pig? You can Google Long Pig. Like, when I first heard that term, I was just like, what is that? And I Googled it and I was just like, dear, no, please. There doesn't need to be a name for it, but I guess there does need to be a name for it because it's real. So I think we need to pay attention to that. And I would imagine that the elite that allegedly do that kind of thing, that they feel like they can gain a lot of power from doing something that disgusting. because it's so taboo. You know, it gets back into the whole Truckee thing, the whole Donner Pass thing. So taboo. And there are cultures where it's not taboo. It's a thing. It's a goal. It's what you do. And I almost wonder if that's the culture of the elite here in this country. I've wondered that a lot, and I don't know that it is, and I hope that it's not. I hope that's just crazy talk. But I thought they were the regular size hats on pea brains. Fred, I love that comment. I'm so glad I finally saw that. That was like almost 10 minutes ago. You are cracking me up, sir. Thank you for that. Okay, on that, I'm going to sign off quickly. Love and light. Have a really good weekend. I'm going to keep making videos as often as I can. I've been making my yoga videos almost every single day. So that keeps me going, but you guys keep me going, this community. And I thank you so much for being part of this community and for allowing me to be part of this community. And love and light. Take care. Eat well. Veggies, protein, get your rest, be kind to yourself, kind to others, and we all need to try to stay focused and not be overwhelmed. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. And I'm going to recommend Chris Norland again and again, the guy in South Korea who went to school with Elon Musk. He's over there in South Korea paying all this attention to American politics because he spent a lot of his life here, and he sounds like he's American. He's probably an American citizen. He's probably got dual nationality. I did Google him. He has his own website. He has a lot of his life online. And what was it that I wanted to say about that? That he's just really inspiring. And him and a couple other content creators like him help me prevent feeling overwhelmed, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed, and it's so easy to, I think, undo that. Like if you just bring it down a notch, just be yourself, connect with yourself, connect with what's important to you, and just all we can do is put one foot in front of the other and do our best. So on that, love and light, peace out, see you soon. Thank you. Take care.